So, probably most of you know that one of our primary purposes of AOL School is to awaken people's experience of true identity, divine identity. The first step for most people is to deeply realize, I am a being of light, an angel, an aspect of God. Many words could describe this first precious cognition of who I truly am. But soon, a person comes to realize that to experience who I truly am requires the person to express who I truly am. So, the more I express who I truly am, the more I know who I truly am. It's not the more I believe who I truly am, the more I know who I truly am.
네.
Belief is an important start, but it's not enough. So, how do we come to experience our true identity, not just believe it? I think Yoranda's words answer that best. This becomes a reality as you let yourselves begin to truly give. Truly serve in a spirit of true thanksgiving. If you serve to get, you are working contrary to God's plan, and it doesn't work. If you give to get, you're going in the wrong direction. You will fail. Why? Because you're going in the wrong direction. So the key to experiencing our true identity is to share heaven's action, God's action. And again, how Yoranda described to do that, I want to read. Learn to let God work through you. Let that which is of God come out through you, deliberately, consciously, come into alignment with that which God is doing. So how do we know what God is doing? 좋은 질문이에요. Good question. So first, we understand that God or heaven or universal consciousness is always creating, and that includes uplifting and blessing. So, to share God's action, that's what we need to do. But how do we know what God's action is in this situation? By opening our hearts in thankfulness to heaven. Then we begin to see and feel what God is doing. It begins to come into our awareness, our thoughts. Do you know how what I say on Sundays emerges? From my awareness of factors I need to deal with in my field of service, in myself and in others. In my morning sanctification, I meditate on these quite naturally. They're in my consciousness, and sometimes I feel them in my body. But I turn my heart and attention to God. With this, I bring them to heaven. And then God begins to work through me to understand and clarify, to heal and uplift these things in serving others. A current that brings healing begins to emerge. So one question I ask in each of my morning sanctifications is this: what is my heart open to? That helps me check if my heart really is open to heaven. And as it is open to heaven, I find that what emerges from heaven is actually addressing the factors in my world and my consciousness to transform and heal them. Those factors in our consciousness are actually just surfacing from what is present in our world. When we let heaven act through us on them, that is how we share heaven's action. We let heaven act through us to deal with what's arising from our world. So we have opportunities to share heaven's action when we're not working in a team. In other words, when we're working alone. But many of our abilities remain imagination until they're proven in action with others. Working in a team shows what our expression is in fact, not just our imagination of our abilities or our maturity. So, for example, we may think, I've risen above reacting to people. But when we're actually working with other people, we discover what the fact is. So we don't need to be ashamed if we do react. Just acknowledge that there are yet unhealed, unclear aspects in us, and then begin a cycle to transform them. It's actually much better that these unclear parts surface than that they remain hidden, because we can't heal them until they come into the light. So one of the important levels of creation that teamwork engenders is growth. I was delighted recently to find something Yoranda said about this. Generally speaking, human beings have a very limited concept of their own capacity for doing the right thing, for sharing divine action. 맞아요? Isn't that true? Yeah. If we did not maintain a pressure causing you to exert yourself beyond your immediate consciousness of capacity, you would never grow. If there was no pressure, nothing to urge or inspire you to go beyond the limit of what you think is the best you can do, you have a great deal more capacity than you have yet discovered. 진짜 good news이에요. 맞아요? That's really good news, isn't it? So, in short, we need experiences that bring pressure so we can grow into who we truly are. And working in a team has a wonderful way of bringing pressure, doesn't it? Yoranda said, the pressures of reality do not have to produce discomfort. They can bring satisfaction and joy. He also said, if pressure makes us uncomfortable, it's because there's something there that God did not design. So one of the pressures that are not part of God's design comes when we compare ourselves with other people. Working in a team can stir this, right?
네.
Why can't I do what that person does? Why am I different? Okay. Again, something from Yoranda is so wonderful about this. You couldn't be happy in being or trying to be something other than that which you are in reality already. Trying to be something other than that only defeats you. So I hope in hearing that, you experience big relief. You don't need to compare yourself with others. If you try to be something other than who you are in reality, it defeats you. So we can just throw a whole lot of our stress and effort out the window. And I think this is especially strong in Korea. So now, you can just throw it away. Just be yourself and realize you are different. Now, when we can't do something that someone else does, sometimes it brings up shame. It can cause us to withdraw and think, I'm not good enough. Or even, I'm not important. Those are lies. They are ploys of the dark forces to dominate people, as Eugen described last Sunday. You are different, but you are important. Each of us is a different part of the whole, and every part needs every other part. Why are you important?